The first of the series was Boomtown here, which portrays a huge, vast shanty town of the type you'd see in Brazil or maybe India and other unfortunate parts of the world. Here there's a lot of Irish flags hanging out with the washing, and the implication is that it's Ireland. As you know, we've gone through a famous building boom over the years, and this really is a comment again about that.
Is this meant to sort of resemble Dublin on the banks of the River Liffey with the tennis?
No, it bears no physical resemblance to it's just Ireland generally. Again, from my imagination, it's not any particular place at all. And I've placed at the back of the painting a structure that resembles the Tower of Babel from the famous Bruegel painting, and it's being built or left abandoned, unfinished. So it's a comment again on all the great monuments that have been built around Dublin. Although that said, I actually quite like a lot of these buildings. I mean, our city certainly looks a lot better than it did 15 years ago.
Whether you could have afforded to have it look that nice is another matter.
Well, this is it. We'll be paying for it for the next 100 years, probably. So that's the genesis of that painting.
What is this called?
This painting is called Sword of Justice. And in the foreground we have the statue, the famous statue of Justice holding her scales high and her sword. And then beyond them we see across some water, we see a group of people hoisting the Irish flag. And in the background I've placed a lot of skyscrapers with the lights on in the upper floors. That would be our business and government, I guess. And really the painting is about my hope for the Irish people to take back their flag and straighten out our country. And it looks like a revolution's going on in the picture. We're not going to have a revolution here, of course, but a lot of people, again, that have seen this painting get it immediately and can see where I'm coming from.
It suggests a bit of defiance and pride and anger, I think.
Oh, completely. It's totally born of anger. I mean, this one here is a very straightforward painting. You know, there's a boat here. It's blatantly Irish. There's a shamrock painted on the back of it. There's a fella sitting in one of our ludicrous football fan outfits. Have you ever seen the Irish football fans with their silly Leprechaun? So I've stuck a couple of them in there as well, and they're clearly not in Ireland.
I looked at it and thought it was all the young people leaving the country.
Well, that's precisely what it is, or a metaphor for that. You know, it's. I mean, I think there's only about half a dozen people in the painting, but the other painting here that is called Delirium. It's we had a phenomena here over the last few years where head shops became tolerated or legal through some various loopholes where young people could go in and buy their drugs, certain drugs. And there was a huge media campaign to shut them down over time. So I've done two paintings using head shops, again more as a metaphor. This one here is all about money. It's called Delirium, the name over the door. Set on Easy Street, and there's cash blowing on the street outside the door, blowing down the street, and there's champagne and a helicopter and a treasure chest, and it's only open to members. So it's a bit of a send up of our the days when Ireland had money and we had a little minor jet set. The other head shop painting is called Euphoria, and again I just thought it was so ridiculous, all this media time be given over to people moaning about the head shops. In the meantime, the Irish nation is drinking itself to death. Nobody seems to care. So again, it's a send up of Ireland, really. They're selling so-called crack pills, CRAIC, which is an Irish term for fun. So, and place is just littered with rubbish. Established 1922, the year of our founding as a state, set on a high street, and it's Dublin 3, which is a nod to where I live. My studio here, we're in Dublin 3. And then this final painting, and you're the first person to see it.
I'm thrilled.
This is the original rather than a print. It's called Judgment Day. And the main again, we have a statue of justice, this time at the very back of the picture, coming forward through smoke and fire, wielding her sword. In front of her, there's a collapsed building on fire, and it's modelled on Ireland's central bank on Dame Street, a very iconic building. On the other side, there's a building that would represent government, I guess. And then in the foreground, the scene has been viewed by a mother and her daughter. The daughter's holding a little parade flag in a dejected manner. So, although it looks like a picture of Armageddon, to me this is a picture of hope again, of justice being served and a future for the little girl.
But I'm interested that you say that, because one thing you didn't say in your description is that everything is on fire. It looks like Ireland's burning.
Well, maybe it needs to be reborn. Now, it sounds like revolutionary talk, and it's not. I am not talking about violence. This is purely on a painting. But I do think we need to seriously this country needs radical change, right at the top in particular, and our whole way we do things. And this, if you like, is a sweeping clean. That's all.